Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He showed up to the meeting and he wasn't even wearing any pants. No, he didn't know it. I'm totally serious. Oh, I gotta go. Hey, how you doing? Hey, listen, I've been thinking about logos a lot lately, and I've been talking to people about logos. People have been coming to me asking me to do their logos, okay? I don't really do a lot of logos anymore, but I've done a lot of them over the last 20 years. And I want to try to straighten out some of the myths around the importance of a logo and how to go about creating a logo that works for your business but doesn't break the bank, okay? Here's the thing about logos. They're not going to change your life, all right? They're just a symbol. Think of it like a bucket, all right? It's a bucket that when it starts out empty, and it doesn't really represent anything until you start putting things in the bucket. And the things you put in the bucket have to do with your brand and the brand attributes and all the activities that your company's engaged in. Pretty soon that logo starts to stand for something, okay? When you see the Coca-Cola logo, it stands for something. BMW has their logo has connotation attached to it. But when that logo was first created, there was no connotation, okay? Now, your logo, it doesn't have to cost an arm and a leg. It can be very simple. There is some criteria that a good logo has to meet. I see a lot of very bad logos, and I'm not talking about subjective taste, okay? The criteria is not, well, I like it, or my wife likes it, or that guy over there likes it. That's not the criteria. The criteria is it a functional symbol for your company, okay? Agonizing over, looking at 50 different fonts is not as important as choosing a font that's legible in a small size, in a large size, in different colors. Is it visually balanced? Does the thing sit by itself, or does it kind of look like it wants to tip over? There's some technical functional considerations. Can it be reproduced on a white background, on a black background, on a colored background, okay? What are the corporate colors? How does the logo fit in to your system of corporate identity? All of the different aspects of how your company presents itself, okay? It needs to be timeless. It needs to be elegant, clean. It needs to reproduce in all sizes and variations. It needs to look good on a fax. It needs to look good on a billboard. It needs to look good on, in any application. And it needs to be consistent. Those are more important factors than subjective personal taste, okay? That's where you start to get into trouble. And when you get into a really subjective area, it starts to get expensive because people can't make up their mind. They always have another idea. I suggest that anything that you create in the way of marketing communications, that you develop specific criteria to evaluate your decisions, your creative decisions. The criteria has to be specific to the purpose and the end goal that you're trying to reach, whether it's a brochure or a website or a logo or whatever it is you're trying to create, and how it fits into the system of marketing. Hey, take a look at your sales process. Talk to your salespeople. How do they use it? How are they going to use this information? How does this all fit together? So the logo itself, it's just not worth agonizing over. And this is what happens that makes logos turn into big, expensive fiascos, okay? What happens is the bigger the company or the more emotionally involved, even a small company, they start getting very involved in it, and it turns into a process that has iteration after iteration after iteration. Let's try this, let's try that. What about this? How about that symbol? Let's do 10 of those, we'll see which one we like, okay? Way too much thought process, okay? It just needs to be clean, it needs to be simple, it doesn't have to have a whole bunch of meaning. The bell symbolizes the radius of sound and of energy that radiates from the company and blah, 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 blah. That's total bullshit, okay? It doesn't mean anything. It is a symbol. I've seen some horrible logos for very successful companies. I don't recommend you go that route either, but there's a balance to be achieved, okay? It does start to get really, really complicated, but it's the difference between blowing a bunch of money on a project that doesn't do what you're trying to do, okay? So logos, they're pretty important, but they're not that important, okay? Do it reasonably. If you have unlimited money, then more power to you. Most of us have, if we're going to spend money on anything, it's going to come from out of somewhere else. It's a finite pie. Okay, we don't have unlimited funds. So what I'm saying is, invest marketing funds, do a simple logo, make sure it works, and that you could be proud of it. But then invest that money in things that are going to directly drive the success of your business. If you can do that, you'll have it made. Oh, you heard about the No Pants meeting? I know, I can't believe it. I was there. I mean, I've shown up with various, mismatched socks and things, but, I've never forgotten.